I was very concerned all week about getting too much attention. Now, I like the attention, but I mean, everything was Bobby this, Bobby that, Bobby this, Bobby that. I've never been treated so royally. I think Ann felt the same way. Never been treated so royally where we stayed and where we went and what we did. And I said, now somehow this is going to work against us. Our kids, our players are not going to be focused. Their attention's going to be divided or something like that. And then the way that game started off, I said, yeah, that's exactly what's happened. These kids got all wrapped up in this Bobby Bowden leaving thing, and they ain't ready to play football. But they got better and better as the game went on. I thought it was an excellent football game. I thought that number 7, one of the best backs. I can't remember much better back than that number 7. You know, he's a Florida boy. And but our kids just kept fighting. EJ did a tremendous job as a redshirt freshman quarterback. Reminds me of old Chip Ferguson, who started down here in 1985. We played Oklahoma State in the Gator Bowl. He was a redshirt. I think he might have been a pure freshman or probably a redshirt freshman. And he was most valuable after the game that year. But I was really pleased with not OJ, but EJ. And then, of course, 38 ran real good. We needed somebody to counter that number 7. If number 7 is going to get 200 yards, somebody on my team's got to get 150. Just try to hang in there with him. So Jermaine did that. Offensive line played good all year. I can't remember them having a bad game. They played good all year. Our kicking game was one part of our game that we never lost all year. You know, you got offense, you got defense kicking. There were times when our defense got killed. There were times when our offense got killed. But our kicking team never lost. Not that they won, but nobody beat us with the kicking game. So they held up again today. Y'all want to ask some questions? Yes.
You've never been overly sentimental, but I'm just wondering at the end of the long parade what it means to get out of here with a win and carry off the field and the show the team players.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's amazing, but coming out with a win is kind of a bonus. You know, I mean, here I was looking at the end of my career. I'm going to either win 388 games or I'm going to win 389. You know, and don't neither one of them throw me over the hump or nothing. Unless something happened to Joe today. Anything happened to Joe today? I might sign up for another year if Joe leaves. But so anyway, the winning was really a bonus. You know that your last game. It's going to be. To be honest, it's kind of interesting. I'm interested in this retirement business. You know what? I ain't got to set my alarm no more. I'll get up when I get darn good ready, and then, like I say, go out and look for a job.
Bobby, could you talk about that brief ride on the shoulders? It looked like you asked to get down at the end rather than putting you down.
Yeah.
And two, how much did the years pour through your head today as you're walking down and you're down to your last half and your last quarter and your last drive?
Yeah. Well, when I first came here, you folks that followed us back in those days, all big wins were finished with a carrying you off on your shoulders. That was just kind of what people did back in those days. We won a 200th win, so I got carried off. We won a 100th win, we got carried off. Then the wins over Nebraska and Ohio State, they were usually carry-offs. And then we stopped doing it. I don't know why we stopped doing it, just stopped doing it. I think they like throwing water at you a little bit more, trying to create pneumonia. I finally asked them to stop. I said, man, don't do that anymore. Don't do it anymore. I'm 70 years old. I'll die of pneumonia if you don't hit me with that water anymore. So they stopped doing that. But today, when we came off the field, some of them asked me, can we carry you off? And I said, well, yes, if y'all want to. I don't want anybody thinking it up, but if y'all want to do it, I'll just carry me off field. Well, they must have sent the littlest guys they had because they couldn't even lift me up, you know. And so anyway, I ended up walking on the field, but they were determined, I guess, to get me on their shoulders. So they did that when I came off that stage. I don't know how far they would have carried me, but I finally got them to put me down. Why? Well, we're about out of space. We're going to run in that wall. If I fail, it'd be into the stadium. So, no, I thought it was about time to get down.
Bobby, you ran down and threw your hat into the stands with a minute, so was that spontaneous?
That was to the band.
Yeah.
That was to the band. I used to do that all the time. When our bands sat on the other end of the field, when I would come off the field, I always threw the band my hat. You know what? Then we changed the stadium around and put them way down there. So I always came off this end, and way down there. I never could throw my hat. When we play away from home, sometimes they'd be where I could throw my hat. Maryland, I could always throw my hat because they put them down where I came off the field. So I look down there to see how high up they are. Sometimes it's so high up I can't get my hat that high. And I said, dadgummit, I'm going to go. That's my last game. They can't give me more than 15 yards. And so I'm going to throw that hat up there for the last time to the band because they mean so much to me. I'm a band man. I love the band.
Bobby, how did you feel about planting the spear? Was that fun?
Yeah, and that's what I used to try to throw a javelin in college, and it would just kill me when it wouldn't stick up. Throw that thing down and just skip it. It's supposed to stick. So I was wondering if that thing's going to stick, you know. But I got it on my first shot, so I can be a pretty good spear thrower, I believe.
Coach Dowdy, what went through your mind when you came out of the car and you saw that gauntlet of football players that go all the way back 30 years? What went through your mind when you just saw that?
That was the most emotional thing I have had. I was determined I ain't crying. I ain't gonna cry. I don't care what anybody says. You know, I was determined I ain't gonna cry. But I tell you what, the closest I came is when I walked through them players and the fans. That was pretty tough.
Could you tell us what your most cherished victory and disappointing loss was at West Virginia?
At West Virginia?
West Virginia.
No. Well, you know, I really can. I can pin that down. The best win we had was in '75 when we beat Pitt with a McKenzie field goal in the last 4 seconds. When he kicked it through there, I looked up the scoreboard. Game was over. You know, I think we won 17-14. Johnny Majors was the head coach at Pitt. Tony Dorsett was their great back. We held him to 106 that day, you know. Now, that was the biggest win I can remember of all of them. Now, the worst loss, not even close. Do you remember? Pitt, 36-35, yeah. Whew, I'd like to die. Ann, just like Ann said, it's the only time she ever cried. We had them 35-8 at the half. We're killing them. Second half, we couldn't even make a first down. And I tell you what, now, I learned something. You never had me sitting on the ball again, had you? I get accused of running the score? You darn right. I sat on it when we were ahead 35 days. I said, we're going to win this thing. And lost, and I said, I'm going to sit on it again. And I ain't. Don't have to worry about it more. Who else?
Coach Bowden, you had said